Yay, we're done with our first book. Pat yourself on the back, kiddos. It's always a big accomplishment when you finish a book. So this is gonna be the final review video of Let's Explore Diabetes with Owls, and this is just kind of be my whole review of the entire book. And I am actually gonna start off this review with a big old dose of honesty. I have been sick to death and worried and stressed about what you guys have been thinking about this book, and it has honestly really been stressing me out. And I think that's because I've talked about Sedaris so much as one of my favorite authors that I felt like if you guys read this book and you didn't like it, that it was somehow gonna be my fault. And I was also afraid that everyone would think that I somehow stood behind or endorsed everything David Sedaris said or did in this book. And I'm sure there are some people out there who do think that and believe it, and that is just something I will probably have to overcome personally. Now, since I have read all of David Sedaris' other books, I keep trying to put myself in the position of what I would think if this were the first David Sedaris book I'd ever read. And I wrote down that I still think I would have appreciated the thoughtful style, but it's hard to put myself in that position because I keep connecting the dots with older things in other David Sedaris books, like what happened to his mom, or other growing up stories, or more stories about his relationship with Hugh. And I think that had I not known all of those things while reading this book, I honestly would not have enjoyed it as much. Now, after saying that, I did really enjoy this book, but it did seem to deal with some heavier themes and some more recent happenings than some of his previous books. And I've said before, that's not a bad thing. It was just unexpected for me, and had I known that about this book, I honestly probably would not have chosen it to be our first book to read together. My favorite chapters I wrote down were probably Standing Still, Understanding Owls, and Mind the Gap, which is surprising because that was a fictional monologue, and just about all the other fictional monologues were probably my least favorite chapters. I just felt they were somehow sort of disconnected from the other stories. So now I will show some of your comments from past videos on this book and respond to them. I'm scared. User A. Farley. This was probably one of the most thoughtful comments, and I think it even made me look back at the Loggerheads essay and further see all of the connections between all of the different parts of that story, and it also helped me understand it a lot better too. Mrs. Grievous. This was actually a really interesting thought, and I think I would have enjoyed the fictional monologues more had I not immediately realized what they were, because then I think maybe I could have become a little bit more immersed in them. This was a really good quote. Shirley said, "Sedaris seems to be writing about what we try not to think about." And I thought that was a good way of putting it, and that may have been why some of us, myself including, felt uncomfortable during some parts of the essays. And then Dancing Man, I appreciated your username. I am glad you enjoyed the book and that you picked up some more of David Sedaris' books, because When You Are Engulfed in Flames is probably my favorite one of his books. And there was also a whole lot of other great discussion. You can go back to the previous videos and read all of it. And thank you to everyone who participated in our first book. Yeah. I don't know what else to say. It's been a hoot. Oh, which goes along with the owls thing. Who knew I would end this video so cleverly? We are officially moving on to our second book, which will be Mindy Kaling's Is Everyone Hanging Out Without Me? And next week we will just be talking about it in general. There will be no reading assignment. So you can just head down to your library, pick up the book, download it online, do whatever you do when you read. Also this week, I would love to hear your final review and your final thoughts over Let's Explore Diabetes with Owls by David Sedaris. You can tell me your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, and also this would probably be a really good place to let me know some future books you would like to read after we are done with the ones we are about to read. And as usual, I will be trolling around in the comments and reading and replying to them, and I will see you guys Wednesday.